Human fascination with the strange and rare has given rise to countless unique creations around the world, and the square watermelon is one of them. But how exactly are these perfectly squared fruits, so contrary to nature, made? This unusual story begins in the lush green fields of Japan, where tiny seeds are carefully planted and nurtured. Once the young melons appear, a simple yet ingenious technique transforms them into masterpieces, raising their value from just a few dollars to hundreds. Today, join Agriculture Insight as we uncover the entire process behind one of the world's most unusual and expensive watermelons, and the secrets hidden within its seemingly impossible square shape. All will be revealed in this video. Born in Kagawa Prefecture, Japan, in the 1970s, the square watermelon was originally created simply to fit neatly inside small refrigerators. But over time, what began as a practical idea evolved into a famous agricultural souvenir, often given as a luxurious gift with a price tag reaching nearly $800 per fruit. However, defying nature comes at a cost. Square watermelons are usually harvested early to preserve their firm shape, which means the flesh inside is less red, the flavor bland, and the natural sweetness of a traditional watermelon lost. Countries like Russia, Brazil, and China have all tried cultivating square watermelons, but none managed to build the brand or sustain the value the way Japan has. Only in the land of the rising sun has this fruit maintained its prestige and luxury status. From that success, the Japanese went on to create even more whimsical variations: heart-shaped melons, pyramid-shaped ones, and even watermelons bearing human faces. Still, the square watermelon remains the legend that sparked the global trend of turning fruit into works of art, a phenomenon that continues to amaze and fascinate the world. And like every extraordinary story, this one also has a beginning. Right now, let's step into the most unique watermelon fields on the planet, where the journey of this bizarre fruit first began. Everything begins with tiny seeds. But when it comes to square watermelons, farmers carefully select robust varieties, medium-sized fruits with thick rinds, so they can withstand the pressure of the mold during shaping. The seeds are soaked in warm water for several hours to stimulate germination, then sown into seedling trays filled with loose, nutrient-rich soil. Within 10 to 14 days, the first green sprouts emerge, developing into sturdy seedlings with 2 to 3 true leaves, the perfect time to transplant them into the field. Meticulous care during this nursery stage is crucial, as the strength of each seedling ultimately determines both the quality and the final shape of the square watermelon. But before those tiny seedlings can take root in their new home, the watermelon fields must be carefully prepared. First, to awaken the life hidden within the soil after the previous harvest, plowing machines are brought in. Their sharp steel blades churn deep into the ground, turning over heavy clumps of earth and breaking apart hardened layers. This process not only loosens the soil, but also mixes in organic residues, enriching its fertility. Once the soil is soft and airy, farmers shape raised beds about 1.5 to 2 meters wide and 20 to 30 centimeters high to prevent waterlogging. The tops are leveled flat, aligned neatly like the even folds of a well-laid agricultural fabric. Finally, a suitable dose of fertilizer, especially well-rotted organic matter combined with potassium and phosphorus-rich NPK, is added to fuel the vigorous growth of young plants. This becomes the very foundation for the birth of those extraordinary square watermelons. One secret to boosting yield while reducing labor is the use of agricultural mulch. In modern farming, especially with high-value crops like watermelon, mulching has become an indispensable companion for farmers. A thin plastic film spread flat across the raised beds helps retain soil moisture, suppress weeds, reduce erosion, and maintain warmth during chilly days. More importantly, it creates a barrier between the fruit and the soil, minimizing soil-borne diseases and keeping the melons clean. Still, mulching is not mandatory. Depending on climate, soil conditions, and investment capacity, farmers may choose to use it or not. However, for square watermelons, where shape and quality are paramount, mulching is almost essential. And once everything is ready to welcome new life, the young seedlings are finally transplanted into the field. The golden spacing for watermelon growth is 60 to 70 centimeters between plants, with about 2 meters between rows. This density provides enough room for the vines to spread while ensuring good airflow to reduce pests and diseases. After transplanting, the soil around the base is gently pressed to secure the seedlings in place. In the first few days, small covers or white plastic sheets may be temporarily set up to shield the young plants from strong winds and harsh sunlight. Once the seedlings take root, the real care begins. Watermelon is a crop that loves water but is extremely sensitive to flooding. Farmers must water regularly, keeping the soil evenly moist, especially during the rapid fruit development stage. Drip irrigation or sprinkler systems are often used to ensure water is distributed evenly. In addition to irrigation, fertilization is applied in several stages. Nitrogen is provided early on to stimulate leaf and stem growth, followed by potassium to strengthen the rind and improve durability. At the same time, farmers prune the vines, keeping only 1 or 2 main branches to focus nutrients, and selectively remove poor quality fruits, leaving only the most promising ones to grow. About 30 to 40 days after being transplanted into the field, the plants begin to bear fruit. When the young melons grow to about the size of a fist, roughly 6 to 10 centimeters in diameter, that is the perfect moment to place them into the square molds. Farmers carefully slip each fruit into a transparent box made of hard plastic or acrylic glass. From then on, the melon will gradually expand, forced into the shape of a cube. For the next 2 to 3 weeks, farmers must monitor them closely, wiping away condensation from the mold walls, adjusting the position of the fruit, and ensuring it develops evenly. This is the stage that determines the value of the watermelon. Will it be sold for just a few dollars, like any ordinary melon, or become a rare square watermelon worth hundreds of dollars, an object of global fascination and desire? Yet even the smallest mistake could cause the fruit to crack or deform, turning weeks of effort into nothing. That's why farmers must stay vigilant throughout the entire shaping process. Inside their transparent square molds, the watermelons continue to grow day by day until, around 80 to 100 days, they are finally ready for harvest. With only about 200 to 400 produced each year, this limited edition crop is harvested entirely by hand. Farmers gently remove the mold and cut the stem from the vine. Unlike ordinary watermelons, which are picked at peak ripeness, square watermelons are harvested earlier to keep their rinds firm and their shape stable, which is why they are prized mainly for display rather than eating. After harvest, each fruit is carefully cleaned, labeled with certification, and packed into an individual box. The premium ones are even placed in elegant wooden cases, turning them into luxury gifts at high-end supermarkets in Japan or exclusive exports to demanding markets abroad. But that's not the only extraordinary fruit in the land of the rising sun. Alongside the famous square watermelons, Japan also boasts another treasure, the Densuke black watermelon, a fruit that stuns with its striking appearance and unbelievable price tag. At first glance, the densuke is enough to make anyone stop in their tracks. Unlike the familiar green-striped rind, it wears a jet-black skin, sleek and glossy like a polished lacquer finish. This absolute minimalism creates an aura of mystery and allure, with the highest recorded price reaching over 6,000 USD for a single watermelon at an auction in Hokkaido in 2008. Densuke set a world record. Yes, you heard that right. One watermelon costing as much as a small car. So, what secret makes this fruit so incredibly luxurious? Unlike ordinary watermelons, each densuke vine is allowed to bear only a single fruit, so that every bit of nutrition is concentrated into growing that one melon. Not every soil is suitable either. Only select fields in Hokkaido with their unique mineral composition can meet the requirements. Before every planting season, farmers test the soil, adjust its pH, and even rotate crops to preserve fertility. What's more, most black watermelons are cultivated inside greenhouses to control the microclimate, ensuring stable temperature and humidity throughout Hokkaido's short growing season. Every step of care, from pollination and pruning to shielding the fruit from sun and rain, is carried out entirely by hand. Farmers even place a layer of straw beneath each melon to keep the rind perfectly smooth and unblemished. By harvest time, only those fruits that meet the strictest standards, flawless round shape, balanced size, and a pristine, mirror-like black sheen, are awarded the prestigious densuke label. The rest are immediately discarded. After being harvested from the greenhouse, the melons are immediately brought to the processing facility. Here, each fruit is carefully wiped with a soft cloth to remove any dust, while the rind is polished until the black surface gleams like a lacquered finish. Though seemingly minor, this step is crucial. A single scratch or irregular spot is enough to disqualify the fruit from carrying the prestigious densuke name. Once approved, every black watermelon is labeled with certification and placed in an individual box, ready to be delivered to luxury supermarkets or taken to exclusive auctions in Hokkaido, where their value can skyrocket many times over. There, each densuke watermelon is no longer seen as just a fruit, but as a true symbol of refinement and prestige, coveted like a genuine work of art. Over a millennium ago, a humble mushroom was discovered in China, and today it enables the country to dominate the world with an enormous annual output of 4 to 5 million tons, accounting for more than 85% of global production. Yet beyond China's vast dominance, Japan also cultivates its own legacy. In Miyazaki Prefecture, a 70-year-old company harvests around 140,000 pounds of wild shiitake each year, where the rarest variety, known as white flower or hana donko, features cracked caps resembling delicate petals. Priced at a minimum of $400 per kilogram, fewer than 1% of these mushrooms ever reach this elite grade. Why, among hundreds of mushroom species, is shiitake so highly desired and driven by such strong demand? Compared to common mushrooms such as white button, oyster, or enoki, shiitake stands out with its dense texture, earthy aroma, higher levels of fiber, B vitamins, and especially lentinan, a rare polysaccharide that helps boost the immune system and supports cancer prevention. The closer shiitake mushrooms are to nature, the greater their value becomes. As the Japanese proverb says, "Shizen ni masaru mei nashi," meaning, nothing heals better than nature. Shiitake cultivated on logs in the forest is regarded as the pinnacle of this species hierarchy, yet sustaining and expanding this model is increasingly difficult, opening up a journey of wild shiitake cultivation that is both highly challenging and profoundly meaningful. It all begins with the harvesting of natural logs from the forest, usually oak, chestnut, or beech. Hardwoods with dense fibers and rich nutrients that are ideal for shiitake to colonize. The secret to producing high-quality shiitake lies in the selection of raw logs, which must be clean, free of pests and decay, with an ideal moisture content of around 35 to 45%. After felling, the trunks are cut into logs about 1 meter long and 10 to 15 centimeters in diameter, then left to rest for 2 to 3 weeks under a well-ventilated shelter to reduce the natural antibiotic activity in the wood, a crucial step that allows the shiitake mycelium to penetrate and thrive later on. These very logs will then serve as the home that nurtures wild shiitake mushrooms for many years to come. Next comes the inoculation stage. Once the logs meet the right conditions, growers drill holes about 2 to 3 centimeters deep along the trunk, spaced 10 to 15 centimeters apart. In more modern facilities, machines are even used to drill the holes with precision and speed, allowing large numbers of logs to be inoculated efficiently, while ensuring uniform spacing and depth. The inoculum is usually a pure strain of Lentinula edodes, packed tightly into each hole, and then sealed with beeswax or hot paraffin to retain moisture and block bacteria or insects. This work is favored by the elderly in Japan, as they cherish the closeness to nature and find joy in watching shiitake mushrooms grow season after season. And among those hundreds of thousands of logs, no one can ever predict which one will yield the rare white flower variety. After inoculation, the logs are stacked or stood upright in cool, humid, and well-ventilated forests to begin the incubation phase, under ideal conditions of 20 to 25 degrees Celsius, 80 to 90% humidity, and little to no light. Over the next 6 to 12 months, the mycelium gradually spreads throughout the wood, and a single log can continue producing mushrooms for up to 6 years. The choice of wood, both common and considered delicious for the fungus, imparts a unique flavor to the final shiitake harvest. The cultivation of wild shiitake is becoming increasingly difficult, coupled with a steady decline in domestic demand in Japan. They require extremely strict environmental conditions, where even a few drops of rain can damage the caps and drastically reduce their value. Therefore, to preserve the perfect quality of the white flower or hana donko, growers must provide absolute protection, as even a single rainfall that alters its color is enough to strip the mushroom of its value. In the past, shiitake mushrooms were typically cultivated directly in the forest, but to better control the environment, many farmers have innovated by creating artificial log yards, outdoor areas with protective roofing. The key to this cultivation method lies in replicating the natural forest environment under controlled conditions, allowing the mushrooms to thrive while avoiding direct rain or harsh sunlight. Therefore, after months of mycelium spreading through the logs, growers stimulate them by soaking the wood in cold water, creating a shock that triggers clusters of fruiting bodies to sprout within just a few days. Though superior in quality, log-grown shiitake cannot meet rising demand, leading to industrial cultivation on artificial substrates as an efficient, scalable, and high-yield solution. The first step in the process is preparing the substrate, the medium where the mycelium will develop and form fruiting bodies. The common raw material is sawdust from non-resinous hardwoods, combined with additives such as rice bran, cornmeal, bagasse, lime, and trace minerals. Once the mixture meets the required standards, it is packed into heat-resistant plastic bags or plastic bottles depending on the model, each weighing 1.2 to 1.5 kilograms. The substrate bags are placed into a high-pressure sterilizer and treated at 121 degrees Celsius for about 2 hours to completely eliminate bacteria, wild fungi, mold spores, and insect eggs. Once cooled to below 30 degrees Celsius, an automatic punching machine creates inoculation holes at the center to standardize the process. After inoculation, the bags are neatly arranged in a dark or enclosed incubation room, maintained at 22 to 26 degrees Celsius with 70 to 80% humidity and no light. Over 45 to 60 days, the mycelium grows vigorously, spreading evenly across the entire surface of the bag and forming a fine white network, ready to enter the fruiting stage within the next 5 to 8 days before harvest. When the shiitake caps reach their ideal stage, fully expanded but with edges still slightly curled inward, dry surface with a characteristic dark brown color and firm sturdy stems, growers begin harvesting. Harvesting shiitake is a race against time, where only those who catch the exact golden moment can preserve its unmatched flavor and value. Whether cultivated on logs or in substrate bags, the mushrooms are always picked by hand to prevent damage to both the fruiting bodies and the substrate beneath. Timely harvesting is a crucial factor that directly affects the flavor, texture, and commercial quality of shiitake. If left too long, the caps expand excessively, losing firmness, tearing easily, and diminishing nutritional value. Under standard conditions, each harvest cycle can last 2 to 5 days, with mushrooms sprouting continuously and unevenly. For log cultivation, each log can be re-stimulated after a resting period of about 20 to 30 days, typically producing 2 to 4 flushes per year and maintaining yield for 3 to 5 years before the wood decays. After harvest, shiitake varieties such as white flower, donko, or koshin are placed in crates and transported to processing facilities like Sugimoto to ensure optimal freshness. The time from harvest to initial handling is usually kept within 4 to 6 hours to prevent dehydration, cap wrinkling, and loss of quality and natural sweetness. At the factory, fresh shiitake are poured onto sorting conveyors, where damaged, broken, undersized, or pest-affected mushrooms are removed. For producing dried shiitake, the most popular product in international markets, the caps are placed into hot air dryers or freeze-drying chambers to intensify their natural umami flavor. The dehydration process breaks down cell walls, releasing and concentrating aromatic compounds, making dried shiitake richly flavorful even after rehydration. After drying, workers hand-sort the mushrooms by color, size, and shape. To qualify as white flower, the mushrooms must be absolutely flawless. What sets Hana Donko apart is the unique cracking pattern on the caps. While all donko mushrooms have fissures, only the white flower variety features evenly distributed cracks that resemble delicate petals, a rarity that drives their sky-high value. Other mushrooms with cosmetic imperfections are processed into shiitake powder, a product highly prized by chefs worldwide for enhancing dishes with a natural boost of umami. From the deep forests of Miyazaki to lavish banquets abroad, the journey of Japanese shiitake mushrooms tells not only a story of cuisine, but also of resilience, refinement, and the ambition of a 1,000-year-old craft reaching out to the world. Imagine standing beneath a persimmon tree in autumn, where vibrant orange fruits sway gently in the soft sunlight. Welcome to Japan, the capital of wind-dried persimmons, where over 16,000 tons of dried persimmons are produced each year using a blend of traditional craftsmanship and modern technology. Here, wind-dried persimmons are more than just a delicacy. They are a cultural symbol, a refined winter gift cherished in every household and ceremony. A surprising fact, the white frost coating on the persimmon isn't mold. It's actually crystallized natural glucose, formed as the fruit dries. This sugary bloom is a mark of quality. The whiter it is, the sweeter and rarer the fruit, and the higher its value. Though sweet and delightful, persimmons can become a natural enemy of milk, especially when eaten on an empty stomach or by those with sensitive digestion. This combination can lead to indigestion, and in some cases even form intestinal blockages if consumed carelessly. From a beloved autumn treat to a real-life forbidden fruit, persimmons are both delicious and deserving of proper understanding. Every October, as the first chilly winds of the season arrive, persimmon orchards begin to glow with vibrant shades of orange and red, signaling the official start of the harvest season. At this time, the fruits grow larger and heavier, weighing down the twisted, brittle branches and prompting farmers to enter the busiest period of the year. To prevent the ripe persimmons from falling prematurely, farmers often set up bamboo poles or wooden supports beneath the canopy, tying the branches with ropes to keep the trees from breaking under strong winds. To harvest the fruit, farmers typically use specialized pruning shears, regardless of whether the persimmons grow low or high on the tree. Even for fruits within arm's reach, they still use the shears to carefully cut the stems, preserving the intact stem and avoiding scratches on the delicate skin. For clusters hanging high in the canopy, the task requires even greater precision. The picker extends the shears up to 3 to 6 meters, aligns them carefully, and makes a clean cut. Afterwards, all the harvested persimmons are gently placed into padded baskets to prevent bruising or surface damage. With towering persimmon trees that are several decades old, the harvest becomes significantly more challenging. Clusters of fruit hanging 6 to 7 meters high require farmers to climb trees or use ladders, skillfully maneuvering long-handled shears to reach each one. Every movement must be precise, both to ensure the picker's safety and to avoid scratching the fruit, as even a small bruise can ruin an entire batch of wind-dried persimmons later on. Once harvested, the plump, ripe persimmons are neatly arranged onto transport carts, ready to begin the next stage of their journey. The first stop for the freshly harvested persimmons is the wind-dried persimmon processing facility, where their transformation begins, from rough, raw fruit into chewy, sweet delicacies sought after around the world. Not all persimmons are suitable for drying. Only the large, astringent varieties with firm skins and high tannin content can endure weeks of hanging without falling apart. That's why the final sorting process at the facility is carried out with utmost care and precision. Freshly harvested persimmons are highly susceptible to softening, spoilage, or early fermentation if exposed to high temperatures or excessive humidity. For this reason, immediately after sorting, the fruits are moved into cold storage rooms, kept at around 1.5 degrees Celsius, just cold enough to preserve their freshness and slow down the natural ripening process. Once ready, each persimmon enters the peeling line. A process that may seem simple, but plays a crucial role in determining the appearance and final quality of the product. First, any excess leaves and small branches around the stem are trimmed off by automated cutters to prepare the fruit for peeling. Each persimmon is then firmly secured on a rotating spindle, while a set of sharp blades glides around its surface in a spiral motion, swiftly and precisely removing the thin outer skin without damaging the tender flesh inside. With a processing capacity of 1,000 to 1,200 fruits per hour, this system boosts productivity by more than 10 times compared to manual peeling, ensuring uniformity and reducing labor demands. However, no matter how fast these steel arms work, they still can't replace the human touch. Before hanging, workers carefully inspect each fruit by hand, trimming away any leftover rough edges that machines may have missed, because even the slightest flaw can compromise the quality of an entire batch. Ever wondered why every part of the persimmon is peeled except for the stem? That stem is far from useless. It's the anchor that allows the fruit to be suspended during the drying process, where the magic of sweetness truly begins. After peeling, each persimmon is carefully tied by its remaining stem and hung on a drying line. Skilled workers use nylon or specialized cords, deftly threading them through the stem and securing each knot to ensure that the fruit hangs 20 to 30 centimeters above the ground, without tilting or touching one another. This spacing is essential for even drying and to prevent mold growth. Depending on the scale of the facility, each line may hold 10 to 20 fruits. In some places, persimmons are hooked individually onto metal racks. In others, they are strung in symmetrical pairs for easier transport and better airflow during the drying process. Though this step may seem simple, it requires great consistency and precision. A single loose knot can cause an entire string, potentially worth thousands of dollars, to fall, damaging or ruining the entire batch. The wind drying process typically lasts between 30 and 60 days, depending on the persimmon variety, humidity, and regional climate. During this time, the fruit doesn't simply dry out, it undergoes a deep internal transformation. At regular intervals, each persimmon must be gently massaged by hand. This helps break down tough internal fibers, accelerates the transition from firm to chewy, and encourages the even distribution of natural sugars. More than just a technical step, this is a way for artisans to communicate with each fruit, shaping its soft texture and deep, mellow sweetness, characteristic of premium dried persimmons. Suspended in a clean, well-ventilated environment away from direct sunlight, the persimmons gradually lose moisture. Their natural sugars concentrate and crystallize on the surface, forming a fine white powder, the hallmark of a perfectly dried batch. As the fruit dehydrates, bitter tannins are broken down, allowing the sweetness to come forward. Through a mild natural fermentation process, the persimmon transforms, from astringent to delicately sweet, from firm to tender, a complete metamorphosis in flavor and texture. After being removed from the drying racks, the persimmons are laid out on a breathable surface to rest. At this stage, each fruit is gently rolled or pressed to redistribute the natural sugars inside. This helps create a uniform, tender texture and encourages the formation of the fine white sugar coating on the surface. Once they reach the ideal level of dryness, the persimmons are carefully arranged in traditional wooden boxes or sterile trays, ready for the final stage, packaging and distribution. If wind-dried persimmons are a slow transformation through air and time, then semi-dried persimmons take a different path. Faster, more controlled, powered by heat and technology. After sorting, the persimmons are peeled, with both the stem and core removed, then passed through a specialized cutting machine. Here, each fruit goes through a star-shaped blade, a unique slicing mold, that quickly divides it into even, bite-sized segments. This method not only shortens the processing time, but also produces uniformly shaped pieces that are easy to pack and perfect for ready-to-eat consumption. Before drying, the slices are neatly arranged on mesh trays to maximize heat circulation and prevent them from sticking together. Dozens of trays are then loaded into industrial drying chambers, where temperature and humidity are precisely controlled, typically kept at 50 degrees Celsius for over 20 hours. No sunlight, no wind, everything is managed by machines to ensure each slice dries evenly, remains soft and chewy, and retains its vibrant orange color. It's the industrial version of wind drying, faster and more compact, yet still requiring precision at every step. After drying, the persimmon slices are manually sorted under standardized lighting to remove any that are curled, undersized, or uneven in color. Only slices that meet strict standards for texture and color are transferred to an automatic weighing conveyor, which accurately portions each batch. The slices are then packed into multi-layer laminated pouches designed to block moisture and light, allowing long-term storage without the need for additives. Before sealing, a small amount of nitrogen gas is injected into each pouch to prevent oxidation and preserve freshness. The pouches are then heat-sealed to ensure an airtight and secure closure. If there were a global strawberry showdown, China would be crushing it in volume, but the United States, it's leading in prestige. In China, over 3 million tons of strawberries are harvested every year, nearly 3 times more than the US. An impressive number, no doubt. But if you ask the world which strawberry jam brands they actually remember, the answer lies across the Pacific. Smucker's, Bon Maman, Welch's, and a lineup of legendary names all hail from America. Because in the US, strawberry jam isn't just a breakfast spread. It's a culture, an industry, and the global gold standard of sweet perfection. The US may not grow the most, but it knows how to turn a humble berry into something the world loves to spread on toast every morning. The reality is, not every strawberry makes it to consumers while still fresh. Left too long, it spoils quickly, and that's exactly why the processing industry exists. Turning strawberries into jam isn't just about preservation, it's a way to extend the life of a delicate fruit, reduce waste, optimize the supply chain, and transform something fragile into lasting value. At high-end strawberry farms, where every berry is selected for export or premium jam production, automated harvesting machines are becoming the go-to solution. Equipped with AI-powered cameras and soft robotic arms, these machines can accurately identify ripe strawberries and gently pluck them using silicone grippers or vacuum suction without damaging the fruit or tearing the stem. The entire process is smooth and precise. Each berry is placed into soft, cushioned trays immediately after picking to preserve its shape and freshness. A single machine can harvest up to 10,000 pounds of strawberries per day, operating mainly in the early morning hours, the golden window to lock in flavor and quality. Even as technology reaches into every furrow of the field, in the United States, strawberry harvesting, especially on organic farms, hilly terrain, or hard-to-reach areas, still belongs to the hands of human workers. Strawberry pickers move like silent artisans, carefully weaving through the rows, selecting the perfect berries at just the right moment. Each fruit is gently placed into ventilated plastic trays, lying in a single layer like eggs in a nest. No stacking, no crushing, no bruising. Once a tray is full, they make their way quickly back to the collection point to transfer the berries into cold storage. This must happen within 1 to 2 hours of picking. Any delay and the quality starts to slip away. On average, each picker harvests between 9 to 13 kilograms of strawberries per hour. It may not sound like much, but this work supports over 55,000 seasonal jobs across the U.S. each year, most of them held by immigrant agricultural workers. Hand-picking doesn't just preserve the quality of each berry, it sustains the livelihoods of tens of thousands of families. That's why the American strawberry industry is not only efficient, but deeply human at its core. After harvesting, strawberries are quickly transported to nearby pre-processing facilities, usually located close to the farms, where sorting begins while the fruit is still at peak freshness. This step plays a critical role in determining the destiny of each berry. Some will be selected for fresh sale at supermarkets or local markets, while the rest will enter processing lines to become jam, frozen fruit, or dried products. Only the highest quality berries, bright red, plump, unbruised, and free of pest damage, are kept, while those that are soft, scratched, or uneven in color are removed immediately. Sorting requires not only a keen eye, but also speed and experience, as strawberries begin to lose freshness rapidly, just a few hours after being picked. On large farms, harvesting may take several days, and sorting can continue non-stop from morning until night. Careful sorting ensures not only product quality, but also efficiency in the next stages of production. Each selected strawberry must be evenly ripe to guarantee consistent color, texture, and overall product quality. After careful sorting, the selected strawberries are gently packed into specialized boxes or cartons with soft padding and ventilation holes to protect the fruit throughout transport. These boxes are then sent directly to cold storage facilities, where stable, low temperatures help preserve their freshness and quality. From there, part of the strawberries is distributed to local supermarkets to meet domestic demand, while higher-grade batches continue their journey toward export markets, appearing on breakfast tables across the United States, Europe, and Asia. But what about the strawberries that don't make it to the fresh market? They're given a second, sweeter destiny, heading straight to jam factories. As soon as they enter the line, strawberries are preliminarily sorted and neatly placed into individual molds, ready for stem removal. More than 2,000 berries per minute glide through an automated blade system, where each stem is sliced cleanly with near-perfect precision. A deviation of just a few millimeters can cause the blade to cut into the soft flesh, distorting the berry's shape, and in this industry, even the slightest imperfection can instantly cut its commercial value in half. Strawberries are then placed on rotating rollers and pass beneath a series of high-pressure water jets. These jets are carefully calibrated to remove dust and surface residue without bruising the delicate fruit. Immediately afterward, the berries slide into a high-capacity washing tank, where powerful water agitation dislodges any remaining sand, stems, or leaf fragments. Throughout this process, a network of guide rails ensures the berries remain evenly spaced and cushioned, reducing physical impact and preserving the fruit's integrity during continuous cleaning. This multi-stage wash is critical for meeting food safety standards while maintaining the berry's appearance and texture. After cleaning, the strawberries move onto an inspection belt, where trained workers manually sort through each batch. Damaged, overripe, or discolored berries are quickly removed to ensure only high-quality fruit continues down the line. This hands-on step adds an extra layer of quality control that machines alone can't guarantee. Now, let's take a closer look at a process we rarely get to see, but one that plays a crucial role in preserving the full flavor and value of every single strawberry: freeze drying. The process begins with an ultra-fast deep freeze, plunging the strawberries to around -40 degrees Celsius. The frozen strawberries enter a vacuum drying chamber. Through a process called sublimation, the ice within the fruit evaporates directly into vapor. A powerful upward airflow lifts the berry pieces slightly, causing them to bounce and hover just enough to stay separated. What makes freeze drying stand out isn't just the technology, but the results. Unlike conventional drying methods, which can strip away up to 40 to 50% of the fruit's vitamin C, Freeze-drying retains more than 95%. The strawberries emerge light, crisp, and intensely flavorful, packed with their original sweetness, natural aroma, and essential nutrients almost completely intact. After passing through the freezing tunnel, the strawberries move on to manual inspection, where workers carefully sort through each frozen piece, removing any that are bruised, freezer burned, or don't meet quality standards. Once the freezing process is complete, the strawberries are transferred to the packing area. Each batch is carefully weighed and poured into food-grade bulk bags. Workers quickly fold and seal the tops using a heat-sealing machine, ensuring an airtight closure to prevent moisture buildup. These frozen strawberry bags are then transferred directly to deep freeze storage, where they are kept at ultra-low temperatures to maintain peak quality, patiently awaiting shipment to jam factories for the next stage of production. At last, we've arrived at the most anticipated stage inside the jam factory, where frozen strawberries begin their transformation into irresistible jars of sweet, velvety jam. The frozen strawberries are carefully thawed under strictly controlled conditions. This process typically takes 4 to 6 hours at a chilled temperature of around 0 to 4 degrees Celsius to prevent thermal shock, which can cause excess moisture release, softening, or discoloration. The strawberries are then transferred into large-capacity industrial cooking kettles, specially designed to distribute heat evenly and maintain stable temperatures throughout the cooking process. Here, the strawberries are combined with sugar, pectin, a natural gelling agent derived from plants, and sometimes lemon juice or citric acid to balance the sweet tart flavor and achieve the ideal thick, jam-like consistency. Throughout the cooking process, the mixture is continuously stirred by automatic paddles to prevent scorching at the bottom and to help maintain the strawberries' vibrant red color. Cooking typically lasts between 30 and 45 minutes, with constant checks on viscosity, aroma, and brix levels to ensure consistent quality in every batch. If you look closely during the cooking process, you might notice a small amount of white powder being added to the mixture. This is usually pectin or citric acid in crystalline form, added at different stages to adjust the jam's gelling properties. And here's where the biggest secret in the strawberry's sweet journey is revealed. Under the intense heat of cooking, the berry's vibrant red color begins to fade, replaced by a deeper brown hue, a result of a chemical reaction between sugar and anthocyanin, the fruit's natural pigment. This leads to a surprising truth. The bright red color you see on your favorite jar of strawberry jam isn't actually the berry's real color after cooking. To preserve the iconic look of this beloved treat, many manufacturers quietly add natural coloring derived from red beet or blackcurrant. A sweet little twist in the world of food, where eye-catching appearances sometimes come from something entirely unrelated to strawberries. Once the jam reaches the perfect consistency and flavor, it is still piping hot when poured directly into sterilized glass jars or specialized plastic containers. The filling process is fast but precise, ensuring the jam maintains a high enough temperature to naturally sterilize each jar. Each stream of jam flows like a ribbon of golden sweetness, but behind that smooth texture lies a highly precise technical requirement. The filling process is extremely fast, yet must be carried out with absolute accuracy, because the jam must be poured while still hot, typically at 85 to 90 degrees Celsius, to achieve natural sterilization inside the jar. This temperature not only eliminates potential bacteria, but also creates a mild vacuum as it cools, keeping the jam safe without the need for added preservatives. Right after being sealed, the jam jars pass through a cold water spray system. This cooling step quickly brings down the internal temperature, preventing the jam from continuing to simmer inside the jar and helping to preserve its ideal texture, color, and flavor. Next comes the final finishing stage. Each jar of jam, after a final quality check, is labeled clearly and printed with complete information about ingredients and expiration date, ensuring transparency and convenience for consumers. The jars are then neatly packed into sturdy, well-lined cartons to prevent damage during transport. These finished cartons are transferred to deep cold storage, where stable, year-round temperatures provide ideal conditions for preservation. Here, the jam jars go into a brief hibernation period, allowing shelf life to extend while maintaining their texture, consistency, and flavor, until they're ready to head out to supermarkets or find a place in your kitchen. And that's the meticulous journey behind every jar of vibrant strawberry jam, sweet from the fields to every spoonful you enjoy. Each jar is the result of a careful process of selection, processing, and dedication. Don't forget, there are still many exciting journeys ahead, uncovering the fascinating stories behind everyday foods. If you found this video enjoyable and informative, please like, share, and leave a comment to support us.